Hi there, this is French Vinyl Addict on another tag, Prog Tag, once again for the second year running. Mon frère, Alex, Beer and Vinyl took brilliantly the lead, coming up with a very interesting, well-curated, I would say, selections of 15 questions, topics for the 2025's Prog Tag. Well done, my mate, really, I had a pleasure. It took me 2 days, to write it down on a piece of paper, to sort of, thinking about what would be the best responses, since, I'm not a tag, I'm not hopping on every thread, mainly because of lack of time, but I had to do this one. I already have done last year, if you may remember, and it's a great opportunity, not only for us, the prog nerds, as I like to call us, because I love progressive music. This is the greatest portion maybe on my collection, and I read some books, to help me, to have sort of guidance, through the journey of discovering new or other bands, mainly underrated or obscure. But it's also like, it gives us also the opportunity, to just give an example yesterday, and this is the only prog tag I did watch so far, the one Glenn Calloway. So cheers, Glenn. Another fellow member from the Canadian vinyl community. I watch his tag, and I wouldn't call Glenn Calloway a prog nerd, just like myself, or maybe Alex, or Art, North Carolina vinyl picker, another shout out. We should do a stream once together. And yeah, this is interesting, Glenn, is very, I think, into, such stuff like classic rock, maybe folk, bluegrass. I think he opened up a secondary channel dedicated to these genres of music. And yeah, he hopped on as well. So I watched Glenn's tag and Prog Tag, and it's interesting as well, to have this different perspective or point of view of people who are not necessarily like, Alex, myself, and so many other from the vinyl community, like prog nerds. So yeah, to have something like, another. But yeah, without further ado, I will start off with with the first question. So my favorite release of or purchases to 2024, so last year. So without any, and I could go with the new releases, but I found this record, and it has recently been reissued on a special box set. This is another new release. This is the one I found last summer on a trip. So this is Harmonium, and this is Leptade. French Canadian, as I often mention, if you watch this channel, the scene, the prog scene over here in Montreal during the 70s was very like booming. There were so many bands, folk orientated, jazz rock fusion. And if you must, or you don't, no, it's not like you must. If I would talk only about one band, to sort of epitomize this era, I would definitely go with Harmonium. This is their third album. This is a double concept album, very ambitious with the 7 levels of consciousness as a theme, visited through the metaphor or the schedule of a typical day. So as I said, very, very beautiful album, a masterpiece. It has inspired melodies, satisfying musical arrangement, and a clever balance between acoustic, intimate parts, electric climaxes, and that are typical of prog, of course, and touching vocal parts from Serge Fiori, the band leader. So an absolute masterpiece. And as I said, I often have some hard time, with double albums, because it's still the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, for instance, still has to grow on me, I guess, and so many other. But this one, I just listened to this one yesterday, and it's simply one of my top favorite prog rock. And I had the pleasure to find an OG copy, as I said, last year. So not a new album, not a new releases, but one I purchased last year. So Leptade by Harmonium. Okay, on to the next, and as I said, I read some books like this one I often mention, provided me with so many informations, details, references about, you know, prog bands. It's in French, I know. The author Émeric Leroy. I'm not sure if there is an English translation. Maybe one day I will be translating this book. Who knows? A perfect work, as I said. And yeah, the one I really got into last year. This is a local band, well, local from the part where I come from. This is the band Atoll, and yeah, Atoll. These guys, they were they were some French guys. They were like massively crazy about the work from Yes. The guitar player was also like really crazy about, you know, jazz fusion, Robert Fripp type of stuff, and they dropped several albums throughout the second half of the 70s decades, including this is their last, including, I would recommend maybe those two albums, the L'Araignée Mâle, the second one they dropped 75, and this one is 77. Most accomplished in my book. First of all, this one, like, very keyboard orientated. They have a secondary keyboard player, also a guy who play fiddle, Richard Aubray, who won't stay in the band, who also worked together with Gong at the same time, you know, and as I said, like jazz fusion orientated, like lots of keyboard, a treat for years, and this one as well, like very like great calibrated, nothing is over complex, and so Atoll, founded in Metz, not too far from Germany, in France. So this band I really got into last year. Next question. We lost so many people last year, and I will go with someone probably not really like typical prog rock guy. And I know you, Alex, you mentioned Mike Piner from Moody Blues, the great call, by the way. I'm thinking of another person who sadly passed away last year, February or March last year. Jerry Conway, very important guy, you know. He participated in a number of projects. Drummer, you know, mainly folk, you know, progressive folk at the very beginning, like participated in some stuff, you know. He's the one who played drums on Sandy Denny's solo album, this one, and on this one as well. So this is Ian Matthews. So, you know, so same sort of family, as I said, Fairport Convention, British folk. And he also played on the numerous of other. I'm thinking of the Broadwater and the Beast, you know, the prog album from Jethro Tull, early '80s. He played with Cat Stevens as well, with a Still I Span, you know, mainly folk, British progressive folk stuff. But Jerry Conway would be the one I would mention for this question. Then on to the next, 1975. So an album turned out 50 years. Renaissance, really like this word in French. Classic album, Sherazade and Other Stories. In my humble opinion, Renaissance masterpiece and a true progressive music opus. You know, from the sophistication of its musical architecture, thanks to the involvement of John Todt, John Camp, Michael Dunford in the writing process, to the superb orchestration with the orientalizing elements from Tony Cox, into Annie Haslam, outstanding vocal performances. Everything was in place for a great progressive album. So this one, 1975, Renaissance. And on to the next, I decided to go, there are so many subgenres, you know, such as progressive metal, for instance, as we often talk about on the VC. But as I'm currently really into folk, you know, I'm reading this book, you know, behind myself, sitting on a shelf, Electric Eden by Rob Young, you know, the guy who worked with the Wire magazine, and recommended to me by my friend, Big Star 1000, really interesting book. So I'm reading into folk. So it's not it's not by accident as I decided to go today with some progressive folk album. This is the Pentangle Cruel Sister, in my opinion. Very interesting work. It's folk, but on side two, you know, this song, Jack Orion, covers the entire side too. It really it goes in every possible direction. There is some jazz elements as well. And you know, two guys on that one, John Renburn and Bert Jansch. What a great, if you like this kind of stuff, there is currently this, as it happens, I just watched lately, last week, this Acoustic Roots. This is a documentary available on YouTube, and I know Glenn, you did it well. You did as well. It's sort of, you know, it goes a little bit deeper in what these guys, they brought their contribution to, you know, to the rock folk in general. So progressive, if you ask me, progressive folk for today. For these questions, Pentagonal Cruel Sister. Sixth question. We are going to Germany, you know, with a Fedra. This is a Tangerine Dreams classic album, as you can imagine. This is truly a trip. If you put a record on a turntable, you will think you are exploring the North Pole with these variations, you know, of instruments, keyboard. Yeah, I'm sure you guys know about Tangerine Dream, especially if you never heard of this album, Fedra. I will definitely, recommend it to you to give a try. Seventh question, record label. Yeah, so many record label, and Charisma would have been maybe one of my favorite record label when it comes to to the classic era of progressive music. First of all, you know, Genesis. My favorite era of Pink Floyd, Genesis, you know, Peter Gabriel era would probably have been. I made this call, but I decided to go a little bit, you know, on not exactly prog, I think pure prog, but I'm choosing this label, not this band as well, but this label, and this is the label Island Record. There was so many great bands under this label, and so many design, you know, design evolves throughout the times. And I know some of the bands I am about to mention, you know, like Spooky Tooth, for instance. They were released on the A&M label for the North American market. I know, but if we are considering, you know, the original releases, UK releases, you know, you had bands like, you know, Traffic, one of the, as I said, Spooky Tooth, Fairport Convention, Free, Jethro Tull, and King Crimson's first album, actually, as well. So yeah, I'm going with the label Island for this question. Then a local hero. So not an easy question, you know. I come from Mulhouse, you know, in northeastern part of France. So nothing really exciting over there. Nothing really crazy. But I could find. I will like in my shelf, sitting on front of my shelf, and I could go with Montreal, you know, because now I've been living in Montreal for the past 3 years almost. So that could be easily. But hometown, the place where I grew up, where I was actually born. I will go with this obscure band from Colmar, not very close, not very far from the German Black Forest. This is a Vlad, and it's called progressive rock. You know, it's in the cover, so you have to trust it's progressive. It's not really a progressive rock, you know, such as Emerson. I think it's inspired maybe by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. There were these dudes, you know, from Colmar. And they were like, you know, trying to do something a la Eloy, probably mainly inspired by the crowd rock scene, you know, like early '80s stuff from Germany, crowd rock, and it's in a way it's progressive, you know. But it's so this is Vlad, and this comes probably from the place where I come from. Ninth question, very interesting as well, and I just. As it happens, I just found 2 records from this artist, and I'm talking about a brilliant guy called Franco Battiato. Yes, from Italy. Underrated in my book. You know, he had several projects. You know, he was like doing some experimental stuff, mainly in the 70s. You know, with the Fetus album. I will try to put a picture of Fetus. Really interesting. This is later stuff. Those 2 albums I got in my hands. This is early '80s. This is progressive pop. it works. Progressive. It is really progressive pop, as I said. The melodies are really catchy, you know. It's not like too much, too easy. Well curated as well, and the tour de force, I would say, to being progressive is about the lyrics, the themes. This guy speaks several languages, and included Arabic, German, French texts. And also, as I said, the topics covered much more complex. You know, you have really, it takes a certain level of culture, you know, to grasp what this guy talks about. So this is a Franco Battiato, and this guy who deserve more attention on the VC or general when we talk about progressive music. And on to the next, I'm going with contrarian. What is contrarian? Yeah, so many topics we discuss within the vinyl community, and I know some people who likes prog, just like myself, who are prog nerd. And don't get me wrong, I'm still Genesis, Peter Gabriel era is still my favorite bands of all time when it comes to the specific era, genre. And yeah, you know, Fragile from Yes, it's one of my favorite album as well. You know, Brain Salad Surgery, all that stuff. But I do have a feeling when I talk with these guys who likes the genre as well, just like myself, when we try to talk about these guys, for instance, you know, and I'm talking about the contemporary scene as well, as you have realized, the contemporary scene or a contemporary school, as we say in French, l'école, which is pretty cool. You know, the school, you know, serves as a training program and a source of inspiration. This is a point, and I'm just making here. Maybe these guys, they didn't have the status of heroes as this guy. He wrote several books as well about the contemporary scene, very interesting. And what he says is basically they didn't have the same exposure. They were not like just as hero status, whatever, as the Genesis, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and so many others. They were doing their stuffs, but maybe now with the benefit of the hindsight, we can realize that the legacy or what they left has served, as, I think, almost as the same level. So they are maybe as important as, you know, and it's a pity, you know, to split, you know, because they were all from England, all from the same period. We only say this is a contemporary scene, you know, because it all started, you know, with you know the story, you know, David Allen. You know, we came from Australia, starting a band with Robert Wyatt, and you know the rest is history. And I tend to think that they were as important as you know, guys from John Anderson, for the future of musicians. You would try to bring music to the next level. So this is what I think. So maybe contrarian. So now I'm just lost 50 subscribers, but it's fine. 11th question, also an interesting one. On this album there is a song called Another World, and Another World, you know, like very funky, with Michael Bloomfield. And Michael Bloomfield recently got certain I think exposure. You know, I just watched the biopic, you know, Dylan movie. And Michael Bloomfield, Buddy Miles, so many great bands. So Another World, as I said, really funky. And the year after, these songs has been covered by these guys. And this is a perfect, as I said, fusion between funk, progressive rock as well, jazz. Took the song to the next level. Another World. So the song, this is and I prefer this version, as you can imagine. And still strong today. I don't have a hard copy of the latest album. I wasn't when I see him last year. He toured over Montreal, so the IO tour, really impressed. And I'm talking about the greatest Peter Gabriel. This is the 1986 album, but here is still strong. And it's in many ways, you know, like the way he decided to evolve after he left Genesis, not being in the same like cult kind of modus operandi, if you know what I mean. You know, like experimenting lots of stuff with tapes, you know, in the studio, going to a sort of you know. Can we still have the right to say world music? Yeah, you know, in the 80s what I meant by that. And yeah, so the last tour was pretty really great. The first time I had a chance to see Peter Gabriel on live in a concert in Montreal, great experience, great memories. So yeah, for those reasons I'm mentioning Mr. Peter Gabriel. Next questions, 13th questions. I do have several albums in my collection that could qualify for that questions, and I'm going with something maybe surprising. This is a Judas Priest. This is the second album they dropped. So the very beginning of their career, they didn't have leather jackets, I think, back then, or yeah, who cares? The first time I heard Dreamer, Deceiver, and Deceiver. This was like not the version on this album. This is a version they played live on a very iconic British TV show, the Old Grey Whistle Test. And I've heard that these versions came or was recorded 2 years before those versions were like on an album. And when you listen to these versions, it has several structure, you know, the evolutions. I think it's 8 minutes long. To me, it's a kind of progressive metal, perhaps, you know. And I'm still amazed when I'm not a really huge fan from Breaking the Law, British Steel, and all that, you know, future stuff they will later be coming up with. But you know, when you hear the cover version made from Diamonds and Rust, for instance, from John Baez. Once again, back to the Dylan's topic. It's pretty. They brought something to the table, I think, these guys, and he has a perfect voice, Mr. Rob Halford. You know that story from and as I said, it's not a prog band. They come from Birmingham, England, so didn't have the same, you know. It's not from Bournemouth or Canterbury, you know, like a very hard rush city. When you know their story, but I like to think when I hear, you know, Dreamer, Deceiver, which is like a sweet, yeah, that it's in a way the kind of prog metal I could imagine back in the day. So my call, Sad Wings of Destiny, Judas Priest. Number 14, going with this one, which has a lot of heavy rock elements on it as well. I'm talking about this band because, you know, Sonia Christensen, yeah, Sonia Christina. Sorry about that. Sonia Christina, female vocalist. It reminds me a bit of Heart, you know, the band Heart. Still a great prog album from the mid 70s, and what a lineup, you know. Eddie Jobson, you know, on the keyboard. I will come to this guy a little bit later. In fact, on the next questions. So yeah, this is my call for the 13th question. And the last questions, I recently bought this album, as it happens, last week. I didn't have a copy yet of this band from the UK. Eddie Jobson played on that one. What a lineup! Eddie Jobson, Alan Holdsworth, and Bill Bruford. You know, you don't have to introduce these guys. And John Wetton. And as odd as it may sound, I'm not an expert by any means in any things I did show you today, but especially John Wetton, I'm really not familiar with his work. I read in his book, you know, I know, you know, his contribution with several projects, and the band Atoll, you know, for the first question, they were that close to hire him. Actually, there is some demos. I think he recorded some demos together. He was about to be the frontman, you know, the leader, or the singer of the band Atoll. But he decided to go further with Asia. And his clearly beautiful voice. What a great bass player, John Wetton. I need to go deeper in John's work, career catalog, whatever. So this is my goal, or my target for 2025. Next year, being more knowledgeable, having a little bit of more, knowing a little bit more about what he did, trying to find stuff, because this is, as I said, this is the UK. This is 1978. So when I just simply listen to his voice, and his simply gives me make me wanna go deeper into John Wetton's words. So this is it. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next prog, maybe a real normal chapter. Bye bye.